Welcome to Lincoln Northeast's production of The Man from Home by Booth Tarkington and Harry Leon Wilson. No food or drink is allowed in the Drama Center. Recording of this performance is strictly prohibited. Turn off cell phones and other noise-making devices now, or the dragons who live underneath the stage will grab them from your hand and eat them instead. The play will have 4 acts. After the second act, we'll take a 5-minute intermission. Please enjoy Lincoln Northeast's production of The Man from Home.
Such a man of caprice, eccentric? Ah,
you said it. Last night he talked by chance to a singular North American in the hotel in Napoli. Today he has asked Ranger for a companion in the automobile. I remonstrate. What use? He laughed for half an hour.
He is not like those cousins of his at St. Petersburg and Moscow. Yet though Monsignor is so good and generoso, will not the anarchist strike against the name of royalty himself? You have not to fear?
I have. He has not. I take what precautions I can secretly from him. You have few guests?
It is so early in the season. Those poor musicians, they wait at every gate to play when they see anyone coming. There are 6 people in the old house, all of one party.
Yeah, who are they?
There is my lord, an English excellency, the Earl of Hawcastle. There is his son, the excellency Honorable All-Merit St. Aubin. There is my Lady Creech, an English lady who is sister-in-law to my Lord Hawcastle.
Really English?
There is an American signorina, Miss Granger Simpson. My Lady Creech traveled with her to be her chaperone. She is young, generosa. She gives money to everybody. She is molto bella, so pretty with charm.
You speak now of Lady Creech?
Oh, no. My Lady Creech is the old lady. Not here, well, death, nor revoir, nothing. I speak of the young American lady, Miss Granger Simpson, who the son of Hawcastle wished to espouse, I think.
And who else?
There's the brother of Miss Granger Simpson, a fine gentleman of North America. He makes eyes all day at another lady who is of party, a French lady, Comtesse de Champagne. That amused me.
Why?
Because Madame de Champagne is such a good friend of the old Englishman, Lord Hawcastle. A maitre d'hotel sees many things, and I think Lord Hawcastle and Madame de Champagne have known each other from long, perhaps. This déjeuner is for them.
Who else is there?
It is all.
Bien, and no Russians.
I think my Lord Hawcastle and Madame de Champagne have been in Russia sometime.
Why?
Because I've heard them speak Russia together.
Well, I think there's a small chance to recognize my employer. His portrait is little known.
And this North American who come in the automobile, does he know who we travel with? Does he know His Highness?
No more than a baby who's not yet born.
Ah.
Set his name on the terrace instantly when he arrived. A perch, petite pois, iced figs and tea. All sent in his own caviar and vodka from the supplies I carried.
I set for one?
For 2. He desires that the North American breakfast with him. Now forget, the incognito is to be absolute.
Va bene, signorina.
Good morning, Mariana.
The Little Hog Castle is served. Il Mattino, the morning journal from Oli, Milord.
An English papers.
Milord, the mail is late.
And Madame de Champagne.
We will see.
My esteemed relative is still asleep.
I trust your beautiful son has found much better employment, as our hearts were wishing to.
He has. He is off on a sent to the American.
Bravo!
But I didn't mean American. I meant my August sister-in-law.
The Honorable Hermione Lady Trevelyan Creech has déjeuné her apartment. What you find to read?
I'm such a devout Italian, but apparently the people along the coast are having a scare over an escaped convict Russian.
Pardon, my lord.
A Russian.
An escaped Russian bandit has been traced to Castleman.
Castlemare, not 12 kilometers from here.
Confidential agent, a Secret Service man, I dare say, has requested his arrest. But the brigand tore himself. What does that mean?
Pardon, my lord, if I might.
Quite right, Mariana. Translate for us.
The brigand tore himself in the hands of the Carabinieri, and without the doubt he concealed himself in some grotto near Sorrento, and searchman is being executed. The agent of Russia embassy informed the bureau that this escaped one is the most famous robber and danger brigand.
What name does the paper say he has?
It does not to say. That is all. Will my lord, Madame la Comtesse, please excuse me, and may I take the journal? There is one who should see it.
Very well.
Thank you, my lord.
I should very much like to know his name.
You may be sure it is an Ivanov.
But how can we be sure it is not Ivanov?
He wouldn't be called in the film of private.
That, my friend, may only be Italian journalism.
Oh, that means a highwayman. Not in the desert island.
I'm glad to believe it, but I care for no more to eat. It has been 2 nights now that I dream of him. Of Ivanov. Bad dreams, my friend, for us both.
What rod? It takes more than a dream to bring him back from Siberia.
Then I pray there has been no more than dreams.
Did I find Miss Ranger Simpson?
The divinely happy Miss Ranger Simpson. I hope you mean.
You mean you have made us heavily happy?
Is not everybody happy here in Sorrento? Even your son? Oh, that is good, listen. She has blown to her piano notes quite well, my little enterprise.
It's time. If America had been anything but a clumsy oaf, you'd made her settle it weeks ago.
You are invidious, mon ami. My affair is not yet settled. Am I a clumsy oaf?
No, Helen. Your little brother, American brother, Horace is so in love with you. If you ask him suddenly, as the day or night, you answer it's Helen. But he's too shy to speak. You're a woman, you can't trust the matters. Where America's a man, he can urge an immediate marriage, which means an immediate settlement. And a direct one.
The settlement. You've decided what sum?
150,000 pounds.
My friend, will she?
Not for America, but to be the future countess of our castle. My sister-in-law hasn't been to Chapman for a year for nothing. And she hasn't done it for nothing either. But she has deserved all the law.
Why?
It was she who found these people. Indeed, we might say that both you and I also offer something. Even on this captious respectability than Lady Creech is not our book askance, which has excited between us. Yet she has always countenanced us. But she must have guessed great things, and she will help us to urge an immediate marriage. You know, as well as I do, unless it is an immediate, there will be the devil to pay. Do not miss that essential. And you know what? We're at the breaking point. If you like the words, a most damnable insolvency.
Hello, Governor. Howdy, Countess.
I'm American.
Outright and video, you know. Miss Ranger Simpson. Ribbon Rose, is she?
Go on.
I didn't stop with her, though.
Why not?
A sort of man in the village got me look at a bull terrier pup. Wonderful little two points. Jolly look, wasn't he? And he's got a head on him, too.
We'll concede his tremendous advantage over you in that respect.
Is that all you have to tell us?
Oh, no, she accepted me.
Oh, bon, bravo! Will she let it be soon?
I dare say there'll be no rule about that. I made her awfully happy.
On my soul, I believe you're right. And thank God you are. Now here's the brother. Attention!
Ah, my
Alas, indeed, I'm quite overcome. Really, I assure you.
Oh, not at all, my friend. Not at all.
I assure you I am. I assure you I am. It's quite overpowering, isn't it?
Aw, poor Monsieur Horace.
I say, don't take it that way, you know. She's very happy.
She's worthy of it. She's worthy of it. I know she is. And when will it be?
Enchanté.
Oh, indeed. I dare say within a year.
2 years. Oh, I dare say, but isn't that putting it jolly far off? The thing's settled, isn't it? Why not say a month instead of a year?
If you like, I don't know. I don't see any real objection.
I do like it. And why not let them marry here in Italy?
The dashing methods of few Americans. Next year we'll be seeing why not here at Sorrento.
Well, and why not, indeed?
You wonderful people, you all ones, and then it will be why not in a fortnight.
And why should it not be within a fortnight?
You wonderful people, I still can see no reason why it should not be in a fortnight.
Just as you like, man. Just as you like.
Enchanté.
My son is all impatience.
Quite so.
Shall we dispose at once the various minor arguments, the settlement? Of course, as a man of the world, of our world, you understand there are familiarities in the nature of a settlement.
Quite so. Of course. I know, certainly. Perfectly.
Okay, then I will wire my solicitor immediately. You will be here within 2 days. If you like to consult your own solicitor, you can cable him.
Fact is, I know our solicitor, ethical man of business title, from Kokomo, Indiana, where our governor lives. In fact, a sort of guardian of her. Maybe here anytime.
Sort of guardian? What's up?
I really can't say. I never saw the fellow that I know. You see, we've been on this side for so many years. And there's been no occasion for him to look us up. But he's never pulled anything up his rope for. He seems to be like an easygoing old chap.
Oh, but would his consent to his sister's marriage or to the matter of a settlement would be a necessity?
Oh, I dare say, but if he has the slightest sense of duty toward my sister, he should be the first to welcome the alliance, won't he?
Okay, then when my solicitor comes, he and your man can have an evening over lots of musty papers, and the thing will be done. Again, my boy, I welcome you to our family. God bless you.
I'm overpowered. You know, really, overpowered.
America, come. Let him know it is 150,000 pounds.
My friend, I am happy for you.
And just to think, at most a fortnight, and dear old Ethel will be the honorable missing of the future Countess of Hawcastle.
Yes, well, there is still that settlement on paper between your advocate and Lord Hackcastle, but you Americans, you're so big, so like your country.
Believe me, the great world of yourself, Countess, has thoroughly alienated.
But you retain one quality, and that you are so American. You're big and careless. You're free.
Maybe in those things I'm American, but in others I fancy I should be about something else, shouldn't I?
You're a debonair, a man of the great world, and yet you're still American, and that you're a bomb and a bully rich. This settlement, such a settlement that might cause a Frenchman or an Italian or an Englishman to hesitate, such a settlement as £150,000, you laugh at it, you set it aside and say, oh yes, take it.
£150,000? Well, that's 750. Why shouldn't we use that money to better advantage?
My friend, you are wise. Largest, St. Francis the largest. I leave you with your sweet brother. Adieu, arrivederci.
Dear old sis, dear old pal.
Oh, isn't it glorious, Tony?
The others are almost as pleased as we are.
This is Frontenac's Chronicles, and this is Burke's Peerage. I've been reading them all over again. St. Albans at Cressy and Agincourt. And St. Alban will be my name.
They want it to be your name soon, sis.
Well, you're fond of Elmerick, aren't you? You admire him, don't you, Cody?
Certainly. You know all he represents.
Ah, yes. Crusader's blood flows through his veins. It is the nobility that must be within him that I have plighted my troth. I'm ready to marry him whenever you wish.
Well then, when the settlement is arranged, it'll take about all your share of the estate, sis, but it's worth it. £150,000.
Well, what better use than to maintain the state in high condition of so ancient a house?
Doesn't it seem impossible that we were born in Indiana?
But isn't it good that the pater made us child, as the Americans would say, and let us come over here when we were young to find the nobler things? The nobler things, Hody!
The nobler things. Since the nobler things and dear old Hawkcastle dies, I'll be seeing quite offhand my sister, the Countess of Hawkcastle.
Well, you don't think that this new guardian of ours, this old Mr. Pike, will be odd, do you?
The governor himself is rather raw, you know? Probably in easygoing old chap. He's an animal.
I wish I knew. I'd hate for Oliver's family to think we had any odd connections of any sort. It might turn out to be quite shockingly American. I couldn't bear it.
Well, just get him out of the way. That's easy enough. No one but the solicitor need see him.
What's that?
Sounds like a law.
Hey, Creech, what's the trouble?
Oh, some terrible people coming in this hotel. There's found a riot in the village.
It's not a riot, it's a revolution.
Why do you have a punching in my dear? Your Americans are really serious.
Not my American Creech.
Not ours. One could hardly say that.
Oh, I say, what a go. Motor car breaks down on the way here. One of the Johnnies in it, a German chap, discharges his chauffeur, and the other Johnny, one of your Yankee chap that though, hires two silly donkeys like rabbits to push the car the rest of the way here. Then, just as they can make it, by Joe, he straps himself in with the rest of them, and proceeds, followed by the populace. Ha ha, I say.
Don't mumble your words, Oliver. I never understand people when they mumble their words.
I went up to his Yankee chap, meaning he was pulling the tug along the seat, don't you? And I said, here you are, all three of you in a row, aren't you? Meaning him and the two donkeys you see, I thought.
Dreadful person.
All he could say was to pick the best company inside.
Impertinent.
No minute to it. I have it, you know. At least, I think I do.
English papers?
We know these Americans are not of your class, Jerry.
Dreadful person, I like fear.
I'll take the pink one, Governor. Come on.
For a stroll, Rick, would you like me to go with you?
Well, I'd rather think I have quite a bit of reading to do, you know.
Oh.
He's taken the church register.
Mariana, how long is this noise to continue?
How can I know? We can do nothing. The people at the Vietnam Club, there is once more a chance to see the North American Napoleon with those donkeys. He will confuse me, he will confuse everybody. He will not be content with the day-to-day until we have the ham and the eggs. And he will have the eggs cooked on one side, and how in the name of heaven can we tell which side? Attention!
On myself, who is all this?
It is Herr von Bruderhagen, the German gentleman, the Lord.
The men that own the automobile probably have made a fortune on sausages.
Nine here. Smart chance. Jensevig.
Dreadful person.
Seems my American friend.
Quite right, be careful, please speak simply.
A thoroughly objectionable will do.
My American friend wishes his own action.
Yes, Herr von Bruderhagen, he will have the eggs cooked on both sides and the hands fried, so he goes to cook it himself. He returned from the kitchen with a national dish.
How horrid.
He had gone to watch himself at the street front.
Bravo! Bravo!
Horrible.
Oh, well, I didn't know there were folks here. I reckon you'll have to excuse me. Here you go.
You are a true patriot, my friend. You allow no profane men to cook your own national dish. I trust you with that wicked motor of mine.
Oh, Lord bless your soul. I put a self-binder together after ponying and had butted it halfway through a brick depot.
Oh, you studied mechanics at the university?
University? Law, no. On the old man's farm.
Without my disrespect to you, what a terrific compound is all. Your country.
You wonder if Sis and I have emancipated ourselves?
Can I persuade you to try one of my own national dishes? Caviar?
Caviar? I've heard of it. I thought it was Russian.
It is German also, will you not?
Well, I expect I won't get the legislature again if the boys heard about it. Still, I reckon I'm far enough away from home to take a few risks.
I fear you do not like it. A few swallows of vodka will take away the taste.
Oh, I
sorry, my friend. But I thought you did not like the caviar.
To take away the taste of the vodka.
I tip my hat to you.
You never worked on a farm in your own country, Doc.
That has been denied me.
I expect so. Talk about things to drink. Harvest time and the woman's folk coming out of the house with a 2-gallon jug of ice-cold buttermilk.
Do you still enjoy those delights?
Not since I moved up to the county seat 10 years ago to practice law. Things don't taste the same in the city.
You do not like your city?
Like it? Well, for public buildings and architecture, I wouldn't trade our state insane asylum for the worst ruin in Europe. Not for hygiene and real comfort. And my people are the best on earth. Out of my way, folks, are neighbors.
They are.
I have no aristocracy, because if they go back that far, they just might as well sit down and stay there. No, sir. The poor in my country don't have to pay taxes for any useless kings or earls or first rooms of the bedchamber and I don't know what all. If anybody wants our money for nothing, they have to show energy enough to steal it. I wonder why a man like you doesn't immigrate.
Bravo.
Your countrymen seems to be really down on us.
These fellows are distinctly of the lower orders. We should cut them as completely in the States as here.
I wonder a man like you doesn't, spend his holidays at home.
Holiday? Why, I never had time to even go to Niagara Falls.
Benito.
What is it he does with his servettes?
No, sir, you wouldn't catch me putting in any time in these useless kingdoms unless I had to.
Poor Castle, how much longer do you expect these people are going to remain here listening to our conversation?
It isn't that, but it is somewhat not to be allowed once people in peace.
Quite beastly and noble.
I had the distinct impression that the management had reserved this terrace for our party.
I fear we have disturbed these good people.
You think they're hinting at us?
I fear so.
Why, we haven't done anything to them.
No, my friend.
Well, there aren't any bones broken.
Can't stand this. I shall go for a stroll.
I expect it's about time I go and find the 2 young folks I've come to look after.
You're here for duty then?
I shouldn't be surprised if that was the name of it. Yes, sir, all the way from Indiana.
By Jove.
I expect, probably, Doc, I won't be able to eat with you this evening. You see, I've traveled a mighty long way to look after her, and I expect she'll they'll probably, want me to have supper with them.
Oh, do not trouble for me, my friend.
Oh, then they don't have a villa, they're actually right here in this hotel.
Seek them.
Oh, I guess I'd better ask. Hey there. Excuse me, son, ain't you an American? Waitress, tell this gentleman I am speaking to him.
Monsieur, this gentleman speak with you.
What gentleman?
Well, by your looks, I thought you were an American.
Haven't been born in the States.
Well, that was luck.
If you'll please excuse me.
Oh, hold on a minute. I'm looking for some Americans here, and I expect you know them. Boy and girl named Simpson.
You wouldn't possibly mean Granger Simpson, would you?
Oh, no, sir. Just plain Simpson. Granger's their middle name. That's for old Jed Granger, grandfather on their ma's side. I want to see them both, but it's the girl I'm really looking for.
Would you be good enough to state any possible reason why Miss Granger Simpson should speak with you?
Reason? Why, yes, I'm her guardian.
What?
Yes, sir. All the way from Indiana. Daniel Voorhees Pike, attorney at law, Kokomo.
I shall ask her if she will consent to an interview.
Consent to an interview? Why, I want to talk to her.
My child, speak to him at once. It shall make no difference to us.
Don't you understand? I'm her guardian.
I shall never hold my head up again.
When you're finished with your affairs, my friend, don't forget my poor party lodger.
All right, Doc, I'm kind of confused just now, but I reckon I can still put a plug back in your gearbox.
Then, au revoir, my friend.
Yes, sir.
I'm Miss Granger Simpson.
Why? I knew your pa from the time I was a little boy until he died. I looked up to him more than I looked up to anybody else in my life, but I never thought you'd have a girl like you. Oh, why, he'd be mighty proud if he could see you now.
Perhaps it would be best if we avoided all personal
I don't see how that's possible.
Will you please sit?
Yes, ma'am.
As you know, are you really my guardian?
Well, I've got the papers in grip, I expect.
Oh, yes, I do know that. I mean, we didn't fancy, we didn't expect.
I expect you thought I'd be considerably older.
Well, not only that, that we
I
just...
expect you thought I'd neglected you a good deal, and it did look like it, never coming to see you, but I hardly had time to get away. Being trustee of your share of the estate, I hardly have a fair show of my law practice. But when I got your letter 11 days ago, I says to myself, here, Daniel Voorhees Pipe, you old shellback, you just gotta take time. John Simpson has trusted you with his property, and he's done more. He's trusted you to look after her. And now she's come to a kind of jumping off point in her life, and she's thinking of getting married. And you just pack your gripsack and hike out over there and stand by her.
I do not understand your point of view. You should know that I am no longer thinking of marrying.
Oh, well, Lord of mercy.
I mean that I have decided upon it.
Well, I declare.
We shall dispense with all delays.
Well, I don't think I have any right to say anything against that. You must be a mighty nice fellow. You must think a heap of him. That's the way it should be. And you're happy, are you?
Distinctly.
It wasn't that fellow I was talking to yonder.
Oh, that was my brother.
Oh, Lord of mercy! But, naturally I wouldn't remember him. He couldn't have been more than 12 years old the last time you were home. But of course I remembered you.
How? You couldn't have seen me when I was young.
From your picture, though, now I see it ain't so much like you.
You have a photograph of me?
The last time I saw your father alive, he gave me one.
Gave it to you.
Gave it to me to look at.
And you remembered?
Yes, ma'am.
Remembered well enough to know me?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that does not strike me as possible. We may dismiss the subject.
Well, would you like to introduce me to your,
To my brother?
No, ma'am, I mean to your, to the young man.
Oh, Mr. St. Aubin. That is quite unnecessary.
Well, I can't see it just that way. I'll have to have a couple of talks with him. Look him over, so to speak. I won't stay any longer spoiling your fun any longer than I can help. Only just for that, and the letter I'm expecting from England. Don't be afraid.
I do not see why you have come at all. We could have been spared this mortification.
You mean I mortify you? I can't see how.
Well, yes, you do, in 100 ways, 1,000 ways, in every way. In that common person who is with you.
He ain't common. You only think that because he's with me.
Well, who is he?
He told me his name, but I can't remember it. I call him Doc.
Well, it doesn't matter. What does matter is that you shouldn't have come.
Not without seeing the young man.
You could have written the consent, but you could have also arranged the settlement in the same way.
Settlement? You seem to have settled in pretty well without me.
You do not understand. An alliance like this requires a type of settlement.
Yes, ma'am. When folks get married, they generally settle down considerably.
Please listen. If you were at all of a man of the world, you would know that marrying into a family as noble as this one requires a type of settlement. I bring my dot, my dowry.
Money, you mean?
If you choose to put it that way.
You mean you want to put something aside of your own to buy a lot and fix up a place to start housekeeping?
No, no, no. I mean a settlement upon Mr. St. Aubin directly.
You mean you want to give it to him?
That's the only way to make you understand.
How much do you want to give him?
750,000 pounds.
You mean dollars?
Yeah.
Well, he has made you care for him. You must be the prince of the world, honey. You must be a great man. I expect you're right about me not meeting him. I probably wouldn't stack up high alongside of a man that's big enough for you to think of as much as you do of him. Why, I'd have to squeeze every last bit of property your pa left you.
Is it your property?
Well, I've worked pretty hard to take care of it.
Forgive me for saying that.
Oh, pshaw!
No, it was unworthy of me. Unworthy of the higher and noble things that life calls me to live upon to, that I shall live upon to. The money means nothing to me. It's merely a necessary form.
Have you talked with Mr. St. Aubin about this settlement, this present you want to make him?
Not with him.
I thought not. You'll see. He wouldn't take it if I'd let you give it to him. A fine man like that wants to make his own way, of course. Mighty few men like to have fun poked at them for living off their wives' money.
I cannot make you understand. A settlement is not a gift.
How do you happen to decide that just 150,000 pounds was what you wanted to give him?
His father wrote the amount.
His father? What's he got to do with it?
He is the Earl of Hawcastle.
And he asked for your property? Asked you in so many words?
As a settlement.
And your young man knows it?
I told you I had not talked to him directly about it.
I reckon not. Well, sir, what's the first thing Mr. St. Aubin will do when he hears the proposition his father has made to you? He'll take the old man out into the back lot and give him a thrashing he won't forget until the day of his death.
A beg the direction, mademoiselle. The soldiers think he hiding to go under the cliff.
Oh, I say, fair sport. By Joe, fair sport.
I saw him on the road here. What's he meant for?
Think I have a chance to talk to Dr. Michelle?
No, senor. There are two companies currently nearing.
Almeric,
Hello.
I wish to present my guardian to you. This is Mr. St. Aubin.
Hello, though. It's the document, isn't it? How very odd. You'll have to see the governor and our solicitor about the settlement. I have some important business here. The cops are chasing a jolly comic chap under the cliff over yonder, so you'll have to excuse me. I'll be tired. Nothing like a little comedy shoot to break the boom and I'm What? Wait for me, fellows. Sorry, I get there.
$750,000 for... How much they charge over here for a decent husband?
Mr. Pike!
One lies down, never met him.
Mr. Pike! Mr. Pike, I wish a word with you.
Huh?
I wish to tell you that the surprise of this morning so upset me, I decided to go for a stroll, and I have just returned.
One more close of grave.
And I've been even more upset by what I've just done for my sister.
Well, that's too bad.
It is too bad. Absurdly, monstrosely bad. She tells me that she's done me the honor to...
Introduce me to their father?
Exactly that. To the Earl of Hawcastle.
Yes, sir.
To her fiance's aunt, Lady Creech.
Yes, sir. The whole Bossatucky of them. She was a hanky-panky Yankee. From the town. Yes, sir. The French lady, too. She ran away with the early time. She did never come back. Oh, so I'll leave out.
And she introduced you to her fiance, to Mr. St. Aubin himself.
Yes, sir.
My sister informs me that in spite of Lord Hawcastle's graciously offering to discuss the engagement with you, you refuse.
I didn't see any need of it.
Furthermore, you allege that you will decline to go into the matter with Lord Hawcastle's solicitor.
What matter?
The matter of the settlement!
Your sister let it out to me a little while ago that you think a great deal of this French widow lady. Suppose you decide to take her for richer or poorer? What's she gonna give you?
Nothing. What do you mean?
I thought you charged her. A little, anyhow. Ain't that the way over here?
It is impossible for you to understand the motives of my sister and myself, and I struggle not to remain in the vulgar herd. But can you try and comprehend that there is an old world society based not on wealth but on that indescribable something which comes with ancient lineage and high birth? You presume to interfere between us and the fine flower of Europe.
Well, I don't know as the folks around Kokomo would have spoke as your father as a fine flower, but we did think a heap of him. And when he married your mom, he was so glad to get her. Well, I haven't heard anything yet about his settlement.
You're quite impossible.
The fact is, when she got him, he was a poor man. But if he had $750,000, I expect he'd have given it for her.
There's no profit in continuing this discussion, and I promise you we shall act without paying the slightest attention to you. What have you to say to that, sir?
This battle was hopeless.
Dreadful person.
Better let him alone until the village that time of people. The governor's covered. Who fetched the burial somehow?
I shan't stop in the creature's presence. I shall go to my room, my holy wings.
Day on. I'm off to go look at that book again. You trust the governor.
I do. It's inseparable, but I'll wait.
You make progress, my friend.
Your machine's like a good many people. It's got sand in its gearbox.
Are you locking us in?
No, Herr von Bruderhagen. I locked someone out. The bandits who have not been captured. The Carabinieri wants us to close all gates for an hour. They will have that wicked one soon. There are 2 companies. Mademoiselle Riviere has much fears.
Mademoiselle Riviere is sometimes.
Monsieur, this convict is a Russian.
Companies of soldiers, the town marshal out my way would have had him yesterday.
My friend, you are teaching me to respect your country, not by what you brag, but by what you do.
How's that?
Well, I see how a great man of that great democracy can apply himself to a dirty machine while his eyes are full of visions of one of its beautiful daughters.
Doc, there's sand in your gearbox.
So,
You go down to the kitchen and make some signs for some of the help to get you a nice clean bunch of rags.
what is it you asked me to do?
I need some more rags.
My friend, I obey.
I won't leave the machine until you be safe.
Are you afraid that bandit feller will steal it?
No, but there's parties around that might think it was a settlement.
I do not understand.
Doc, that's where we're in the same fix.
Auf Wiedersehen, my friend.
Et c'est que vous êtes, alors, devant court, je ne suis pas coupable.
There ain't any use in this world you talking to me like that.
You are an Englishman?
That'll do for that. You come down from there.
An American?
Oh, well, they haven't made me anything else yet.
Thank God for that.
I do. And what makes you so glad of it?
Because, sir, I have suffered in the very same cause that your forefathers have given their own lives for. I am a Russian political fugitive, and I can go no further. Should you give me up, I shall not be taken alive. I do not have a blade, but I shall find a way to cut my own throat.
Are you the bandit they're looking for?
They call me that. Do I look like a bandit?
They see you climb that wall.
I think not. They're just over there. It's the Carabinieri.
Do you know anything about gearbox plug?
Not a thing in the world.
Then you're a chauffeur. Take a look at this one. It's underneath the machine. Wishing you many happy returns, Colonel.
It's the rubber of Russia. They think you climbed the wall, the assassin. The other Carabinieri stand all yonder. These 2, they search you. They ask you, please, have you seen him climb the wall?
No.
And quite late when I'll pass out obliquely. She asked if anyone go across here.
No.
He cuffed me. She wants to know who that is.
Oh, that's the new chauffeur from Naples.
And the chauffeur di una luce personaggio facendo automobile. Grazie, signor. Scendiamo nella giardino. Dio mio, but those are brave women, signor. Either one shall meet in a moment this powerful assassin who may take their lives.
Is there a new eruption of Vesuvius?
No, it's an eruption of colonels trying to arrest a Russian political fugitive. I've got him under your car there.
What?
I told them he's your new chauffeur.
My friend, do you realize the penalty for protecting a criminal from arrest?
We'll be proud of the risk. This man owns the car. You can trust him the same as your own father.
Oh, look out, the governor's staff is coming back.
That's right.
Niente,
lad. That's it, Theo. We'll discuss some other place.
Looks to me like you'll need to get a new front tire, Doc. That one looks pretty near gone. Better have Jim here put on a spare when he gets through.
What you're asking me to do?
To put on a new tire.
The chauffeur, with all excuses, begged if you will command the chauffeur to step forth from the automobile.
No, ma'am. I worked on that machine myself for 3 hours. He's got his hands full of nuts and screws and bolts, half fastened. And if he lays them down now to come out, I don't know how long it'll take to put them back in place. We want to get this job finished. This is serious. Take them up to Main Street with their Knights of Pythias parade and come back a time where we haven't had our hands full.
I tell them, yes, sir.
It'll be your turn in a minute, Doc. Be mighty careful what you say.
Because the chauffeur has just been engaged today and has just arrived, the Carabinieri asks 10,000 pardons, but inquire how long he has been known to his employer.
How long? Oh, why, he was raised on his father's farm.
Oh, that is so.
It is so, ain't it, Doc?
You've heard my friend say it.
Monsignor gracefully consents I reveal his incognito to the Carabinieri.
Is it necessary?
Otherwise, I fear they will not withdraw. They have suspicion.
Very well. Tell them I rely upon my incognito to be preserved from all others.
Monsignor, they will be discreet.
Keep busy, make some noise, but don't unscrew anything.
Monsignor, they withdraw.
Mille grazie, signora.
You're pretty good.
It is required with the slightest diplomacy, Signor. Thank you, Signor.
She must have mesmerized the militia.
I don't say that they went away without suspicion.
It's all right, old man.
Praise God for all my life.
Wait till we get you plumb out of the woods.
And you, my friend, I wish to speak my gratitude.
He is only a German. Just don't be afraid, okay?
The Italian journals call me a brigand, inspired by the Russian legation in Rome. My name is Ivanov Ivanovich.
All right, old man.
I was condemned in Petersburg 10 years ago. I was a professor of the languages, a translator for the Ministry of Finance, and a member of the Society of the Blue 50, a constitutionalist.
Good for you.
I was able to do very little for my cause, though I did try.
How did you try?
I transferred funds from the government to the Society of the Blue 50. Never a ruble for myself. It was for Russia's sake, not mine.
But you committed the great Russian crime of getting yourself caught.
Through treachery. There was an Englishman who lived in Petersburg who had contacts with the Russian government. I thought he was my friend. Now, I was married in my student days in Paris, but that's an old story. I knew that this Englishman admired my wife, but I trusted him as I trusted her, and he made my house his home. I had 50,000 rubles hidden in my drawer to give to my society. The police came to search, but they found only me, not my wife, nor my English friend, nor the 50,000 rubles. I went to Siberia. I searched for those two now.
Was it they who sent the police?
After they had taken the money and went beyond the frontier, that's all I have against them.
Looks to me like that would be enough.
So then, by your own confession, you're an embezzler and a revolutionist.
Oh, why the man's down, you wouldn't turn your back on him now. Besides, you made yourself one of his confederates.
Upon my soul, so I have. You know, from the first sight of you at the hotel at Napoli, I could just tell that you were a great man.
What are you doing, running for Congress?
The Carabinieri won't have gone away without suspicion. Why, they will be guarding every entrance from the hotel and its grounds. What can I do until darkness?
Why, Doc's got the whole lower floor of this wing, and you're his chauffeur.
I was about to suggest that I have a room that can easily be spoke to Professor Ivanhoe.
My friends, God bless both of them.
Don't waste your time talking about that. I shouldn't be surprised if you're hungry.
If not eaten in one day.
My valet Chandra will attend to your needs, Ivanhoe. Know that he will enter your room.
And don't you go out of it either.
He shall not. This way.
Where's the whole castle? Have you seen my brother?
On the other side of the hotel, Lady Street. Down there on the last terrace, as far as you can go. What are you laughing about this?
Because I cannot believe you're always serious.
Serious? Like a lady from an idol. Give me a task and I shall prove to you how serious I am.
Overcome the odious settlement and overcome the bad man who's so troubled. Your sweet sister.
You promised me when it's settled that I would speak with you?
Yes, speak to me.
Because, as you must know, I want to speak as hardly as I dare.
And that, my friend, shall be when you wish it.
Oh.
I tell you, I couldn't say a word they said they are what they were told. But upon my soul, if I didn't hear, didn't I see enough?
I'll believe you did.
How does every meeting you're having?
Is there anything unusual in the valley? Rather, carbonaring all over the shops. They're looking for that bandit fella.
Don't mumble your words.
Looking for a Bali bandit. But he's still in this neighborhood, they think.
What did I tell you? Now, how long?
You shall not repeat one word of what you saw. I'll marry you. Find your Bitterville, and I'll spit to come here.
Rumbo, I don't mind Pater.
What's the row?
My dear friend, I congratulate you and your sister that you guys need no longer submit an odious dictation.
Looks to me like he was going to clear up the cold.
Good afternoon, Mr. White.
Howdy.
It's an immense pity that there should have been any misunderstanding in the matter of your words, Bitterville.
I wouldn't call it a misunderstanding.
It will ill become a father to press upon the subject of his son's merits.
I don't want to talk about him with you. I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Perhaps I might better put it on the ground of your ward's wishes of certain position, which it is her mission to attain.
I won't talk about that with anybody but her.
There's another matter. I fear I do not have your attention.
Oh, go on.
There's another matter to which I may wish to call your attention.
Oh, I'll talk about anything else with you.
This is a question distinctly different. Distinctly.
You wish me to come here?
My child, I wish you to have another chat with our strangely prejudiced friend, and near to all our hearts. I wish to tell you that I see the light breaking through our clouds. And even if he prove obdurate, do not downcast. All will be well. All will be well.
I'm glad you've come, Miss Ethel. I've got something here I want to read to you.
I did not come to hear you read.
When I got your letter at home, I wrote to Jim Cooley, our vice consul in London, to look up the records of these Castle folks and write to me here about how they stand in their own community.
What?
About how they are shown by the best citizens and so on.
You had the audacity to pry into the affairs of the Earl of Hawcastle?
Why, I'd have done that. I wouldn't have stopped at anything. I'd have done that even if it was the governor of Indiana himself.
You didn't think it was indelicate to write to strangers about my intimate affairs?
Oh, why, Jim Cooley's home folk. His office was right next to mine in Kokomo.
It's monstrous. And when they find out, haven't you shamed me enough without this?
I bet this letter will show you who ought to be ashamed. Now let's just sit down here and talk about things together.
Together.
I'm sorry for you, I mean, but I don't see any other way but together. Won't you? I haven't opened the letter yet. I want you to read it first. But I ought to tell you there's things in it that'll hurt your feelings. Sorta, maybe.
How?
I haven't much of a doubt, but Jim will have some statements in here that shows you I'm right about these folks. If he's got the facts, I know he will.
How do you know it?
Because I've experienced enough of life.
In Kokomo.
Yes, ma'am, there's just as many people in Kokomo as there are in Pekin. And And I didn't serve a term in the legislature without learning how to pick underhanded men at sight. Now this Earl, let alone his having a bad eye, his ways are altogether too much for the stripe of T. Cuthbert Bentley to suit me. T. Cuthbert was a Chicago gentleman who opened up a bank in our town, and when he caught the Canadian Express 3 months later, all he left in Kokomo was a sign that was on the door, and was painted on, and as for the son, but I don't think I have much call to say anymore. Here's the letter, read it yourself.
Dear Dan, the Earldom of Hawcastle is one of the oldest in the kingdom, and the St. Albans have distinguished themselves in the forefront of English battles from Agincourt and Cressy to Sebastopol. The present holder of the title came into it unexpectedly through a series of accidental deaths. He was the younger son's younger son, and had spent some years in Russia in business, what I do not know under any other name. I suppose he assumed it that the historic name of the St. Alban might not be tarnished by association of trade. He has spent so much of his life out of England that it is difficult to find out a great deal about him. Nothing here in his English record is seriously against him, though everything he has is mortgaged over its value, the entail having been broken. And as to his son, the Honorable Almeric, there's no objection alleged against his character. That's all I've been able to learn. A terrible indictment. This is what you have to convince me of my mistake?
Yes, it was.
And do you assert there was one word in this seriously discreditable to the reputation of Lord Hawcastle or Mr. St. Alban?
No.
And remember, this is your own testimony, from your own friend, from your own detective.
Oh, if I wanted a detective, I wouldn't get Jim Cooley. At least, not anymore.
Well, I will tell Lord Hawcastle that you are ready to give up the settlement the moment his solicitor arrives.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Why not?
Because I wouldn't take up the matter of settlements with him or anyone else.
Can't you see what humiliation your interference has made upon you in this?
No, I see that plain enough.
So after this, do you have any further objections against my alliance with Mr. St. Alban?
But it ain't an alliance you're after.
Then what is it that I am after?
You're after that there is nothing to. If I let you buy what you want with your money and your whole life, you'd find it just as empty as the morning after Judgment Day. You think that just because I'm a jaded country lawyer that I don't understand it and couldn't understand you? Why, we've got the same thing back at home. There's little Annie Hoffmeyer. Her pa was a carpenter and doing well. But Annie couldn't get into the Kokomo's Lady Literary Club, and her name didn't show up on the society column 4 or 5 times every Saturday morning. So she got her pa to give her the money to marry Artie Seymour, the minister's son. And what a regular minister's son he was. Almost broke Hoffmeyer's heart, but he let her have her way and went into debt and bought them a house on North Main Street. That was 2 years ago. Annie's working at a depot candy stand now, and Artie is working in a hotel in front, drinking up whatever's left of old Hoffmeyer's settlement.
And you say you understand. You of a tippling yokel of that of Mr. St. Alban, a gentleman of distinction.
Distinction? I didn't know he was distinguished.
His ancestors have fought on every battlefield from Cressy to Agincourt and Crimea.
Yes, and you won't see much of his ancestors.
He bears their name.
Yes, and it's the name you're after. Nobody could look at you and not know it wasn't him. It's the name. I'd let you buy it if it'd make you happy. If you didn't have to take the people with it.
The people?
Yes, the whole gang. Can't you see how they're counting on it? It's in their faces, it's in their ways. And this Earl, don't you think he's counting on living on you? Do you think the son would get that settlement? Why, a Terry Hill pickpocket could get it away from him, let alone his old man. What do you think would happen to that settlement?
Well, part of it would go to the restoration of Hawcastle Hall, and the other to Glenwood Priory.
Glenwood Priory?
That's the part of the estate where Almeric and I will stay until Lord Hawcastle's death.
Then my little settlement would come around Glenwood Priory. And this Mrs. Creech that's been traveling with you.
Lady Creech.
All right. Don't you think she's counting on it? And this French lady that's even with them, isn't she trying to land your brother? The whole crowd is on track with John Simpson's money.
Silence! You have no right to introduce them. Do you not place value upon heredity, upon high birth?
Oh, I think so much of it that I know John Simpson's daughter doesn't need anybody else's to help her out. I know she's fine enough, and I think she's sweet enough, and I know the way that she goes for me, that she's brave enough to stand on her own feet.
This is beside the point. I know exactly what I want. And even if I didn't have it, I gave Elmer my promise, and I shall keep it.
But you can't. I won't let you.
I throw your interference into the winds. I shall marry without your consent.
Do you think they'd let you?
I think you'll let me, especially after this terrible letter.
By the way, did you finish it?
Well, yes. I think so. This is over.
Well, read it, please.
It seems to be a matter quite personal to yourself.
I don't think I have any secrets.
Please remember, I have not read anything on the last page.
Well, neither have I.
Listen. Can you hear the fishermen coming home?
Yes, it's mighty pretty, but it's quite foreign and lonesome, too. I'd rather hear something that sounded more like home. I expect you forgot everything like that, haven't you?
Yes.
Seems funny now, but not on the ocean coming here. I kept looking forward to hearing you play. I know how high your pa had you educated in music, and like the old fool I was, I kept thinking you'd play for me some evening. Sweet Genevieve, maybe. You know it, don't you?
The Sweet Genevieve? You don't think it's rather old-fashioned or rather common, do you?
I expect so. That's probably why I like it so much. Yes, it's my favorite. I couldn't get you to play it for me before I go back home, could I?
I think not.
I'm sorry, old man Simpson's daughter, to find the title. Somehow I have a notion that maybe you can. I haven't forgotten how you always kept that picture of her on your desk. The old man thought so much of you, and I had an idea he hoped she would come back someday and marry me from home. I don't wonder she hadn't read it, but she did. She didn't go away. At least, not right away.
The Lord Hawkcastle. Ethel says Mr. Pike positively refuses.
Leave him to me until the see the beat us because of that. Dear Pike, there's a certain picture.
I don't want to seem rough with you, but I meant what I said.
Imagine that it's not in that question.
Then it's all right.
Late this afternoon, I developed a great anxiety concerning the penalty prescribed by the Italian law. For those unfortunate and impulsive individuals who can't live the escape and concealment for other unfortunates, who may be speak vulgarly wanted by the police.
You're anxious of that, are you?
So deeply that I ascertain the penalty for it, you may confirm information that belong to the nearest caravan. Strange to say, many of them are very near. The minimum penalty for one whose kind heart has thus betrayed him. As prizemen in the Italian prisons, I'm pretty well informed, are ferociously unpleasant.
Well, being in jail, any place ain't like an Elks carnival.
There will be no escape, even for a citizen of your admirable country. If his complicity were established, especially as it were, like that.
Talk plain, talk plain.
My friend, imagine if this fellow countryman were, if the request of your fellow countryman would be acceded to.
What would the nature of a request be?
It concerns a certain element might concern a certain settlement.
If the request were refused, what would the consequences be?
2 years at least for the American and for the friend who had been his accessory.
It seems very disastrous.
Oh yeah. My friend, if this fill of countrymen of yours were issued, then on 10 o'clock, say, what would the answer would be?
Well, it would all depend upon which countryman you caught. If it depended upon the one I know best, he'd say he'd see you in hell first. Oh, mighty glad you come. I've been waiting.
You telegraphed for the information?
Yes, sir.
I dine with an old tutor of mine. Once every year I come here to do that. And you, well, I suppose you've dined with that charming young lady of yours at Ward and her brother, as you expected.
Oh, she's got friends of her own here.
I have observed.
Oh, I don't mind they're not asking me. The fact is, these friends of hers are trying to get me to do something I can't do.
What do they want you to do?
Well, her father trusted me to look after her, and if I don't let her pay $750,000 for that, well, you've seen it around here, haven't you?
I have observed it.
And if I don't consent to do that, then it means that Ivanov has to go to Siberia, and you and I to jail.
Why?
But it would be all the easier if it was only me. There wouldn't be any trouble. They could land me for 2 years or 20. But what makes it so hard is I can't do what they want me to do. Even to let you and Ivanov go, it ain't my money. All I ask is for you to forgive me and get away before they come down on me. This feller's got me, Doc. And don't you see how it stands? Ivanov can't get away.
No, I think he can.
And they've got this militia all over the place.
I passed through the corridor of Carabinieri when I came in.
You could get away, Doc. Up until 10 o'clock, you can come and go as you choose.
Well, so can you. Did you not think of that?
No, and I won't think of it. But as for you...
As for me, I shall go. Riviere?
That's part of the load off of my mind. I can't bear to think the rest of it. I haven't known how to tell the poor fellow in there.
Appelez le monsieur là. You may come in, Ivanov. Some unexpected difficulties have arisen. Your presence here has been discovered by people who wish harm on this man who has been protecting you. He can no longer save you unless he betrays a trust that has been, well, granted to him.
It's the truth, old man. I can't do it.
I thank you for what you've tried to do for me.
You have until 10 o'clock. A chapeau produces. And with that, auf Wiedersehen, my friend.
Goodbye, Doc, and God bless you.
To our next meeting.
I thought so. Russian.
What?
That man, a friend of yours, who calls himself Grulerang. He's not German, he is a Russian. Not only that, he is a Russian noble. I can see it in 100 ways that you could not.
Whatever he is, he helped us this afternoon. I trust him to the bone.
I felt it inevitable that I must go back to Siberia. 1,000 times have I felt it since I entered these rooms.
I know you must feel mighty bad, but perhaps...
There is no perhaps for me. Why, there hasn't been any ever since Helen left.
Helen?
Helen was my wife. She left me to Siberia. She and my dear accursed English friend.
What was his name?
His name? Why, well, it was Glenwood. I shall not forget that name soon.
What was he doing in Russia?
Oh, did I not tell you? Why, he had contracts with the Ministry of Finance. He supplied hydraulic machinery to the government. Does the name Glenwood mean anything to you? Have you heard it?
No, and there must be a million Helens in France.
I prayed to God that I'd be able to see them before I was taken. But I talk too much of myself. I wish to know, you will be safe. There's nothing they can do to you, can they?
Oh, I'm all right.
It's the Carabinieri!
Steady. Not yet. Go back. We won't throw our hands into the discard until we're called. We'll keep raising. Oh, what is it?
Milady Kate, she asked if you would speak with her a few minutes.
All right, Mariana, where is she?
Here, sir.
Come right in, ma'am.
I need scarcely inform you that this interview is not of my seeking. On the contrary, it is entirely disagreeable to me. However, Lord Horcrustle feels that someone well acquainted with Miss Granger's sentiments, ambitious in their nature, should put the case finally to you before you proceed to extremities.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't mumble your words if you expect me to listen to you.
Go on, ma'am.
My brother-in-law has made us aware of the state of affairs, and we have quite sympathy with my brother-in-law's attitude as to what should be done to you.
Yes, ma'am. And what do you think ought to be done to me?
If, in the kindness of our hearts, we condone your offense, we insist upon your accession to a reasonable demand.
By 10 o'clock.
Quite so.
And you say he's told all of you. Has he told Miss Ethel?
It hasn't been thought proper. A young lady should be shielded from everything disagreeable.
Yes, ma'am. That's the idea that got me into this trouble.
I say, this young lady who is technically your ward is considered by all of us who know and understand her infinitely more my ward.
Yes, ma'am. Go on.
She came to me something more than a year ago.
Did you advertise?
I suppose it's your intention to be offensive?
Oh, hey, didn't mean anything. But I have handled all of her accounts and her payments to you.
We will admit tradesman-like references. What Lord Horcrustle wished for me to impress upon you is that not only will you ruin yourself, but you will place a blight upon the life of this young lady whom you're pleased to consider your ward. We make this suggestion because we have the idea that you have some sentimental interest yourself in Miss Granger Simpson.
Me?
Upon what other ground will you explain your conduct?
You mean that I would stand between her and you for my own sake?
We can comprehend no grounds.
I don't think you can, but you can comprehend that I wouldn't have any hope, can't you?
One never knows what these weird Americans hope. Lord Horcrustle assures you have some such idea, but she is studied under my instruction. Deportment, manners, and ideals, all of which have lifted her above the mere American circumstances of her birth. She has ambitions. If you would stand in her way, she would die. She would wither like a caged bird. All that is sorely about her hand which has been cast off. We have thought we might make something out of her.
Make something out of her? Yes, ma'am.
Make something better of her. We often aligned to the family which was 700 years.
Yes, ma'am. Cressy and Agincourt, I know.
With a family never sullied by the low ideals that bought and trade to the governing impulses of your countrymen.
700 years. Why, look here, Mrs. Creech. I've got a letter right here that tells me your brother-in-law was in business. I respect him for it. Only a few years ago.
A letter from whom?
From Jim Cooley, our vice consul in London. Now, Jim ain't the wisest man in the world, but he seems to have this all right. And he says Mr. Hawkastle.
Mr. Horcrustle!
I can call anyone Doc or Cap or Colonel, but I don't know how to use those kinds of words for those things over here. They don't seem to fit my mouth somehow. Just let me run on my own way. Didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Anyway, Jim says your brother-in-law was in business in Russia. In business in Russia?
This is besides the point entirely.
It is the point. Now, between you and me, ain't Jim right? Ain't it the truth?
Since some of your vulgar American officials have been spying about.
Your brother-in-law was in business in Russia. So far, so good. I don't believe he was on the corner selling shoestrings or being reversed.
Really? Oh!
Probably something more highfalutin and dignified than that. Probably an agent at a wooden butter dish factory.
They had contact with the Russian government itself.
Not for hydraulic machines, not for mining.
And even so, he upheld the historic name of St. Gobain.
My God, I believe you.
Don't mumble your words!
And did he ever live at Glenwood Priory?
If your mind wandering, the pride belonged to Glenwood's mother, to Horcrussle's mother. Can you see its connection with the matter?
That's how he protected the name St. Aubin. That's the name he took, Glenwood.
What of that?
God moves in a mysterious way. His wonders to perform.
allegiance to my presence. What answer are you prepared to give the local castle?
Tell your brother-in-law that he can have my answer in 10 minutes, and he can come to me here for it. And I'll give it in the presence of the young lady and her brother.
Her brother, certainly. He's quite sympathy with her attitude. As for Miss Granger Simpson knowing anything of this most disagreeable affair.
No, I beg your pardon.
I shall not permit you to come near her. As a chaperone, I refuse. We all refuse.
All right, refuse away.
I shall tell Local Castle.
10 minutes from now and on this terrace.
But Miss Granger Simpson, under no circumstances whatever.
Mariana! Take this note to Miss Simpson.
To Miss Granger Simpson.
Do you know where she is?
She walks on the balcony alone.
Give it to her yourself, to no one else, and do it now.
I want to know.
Hurry! Ivanov!
If they come,
Not yet. Ivanov, you pray to see your wife and best friend Glenwood before you go back to Siberia.
ah!
If that prayer was answered through me, will you remember that it is my fight?
Impossible. You wish to play with me.
Do I look playful?
It's the Carabinione.
Don't show yourself.
Look, yonder by that lamppost. Near the door, it's the Carabinione.
They've been there since this afternoon. Why, look there. Who on earth? Who's they got with them? Why, good Lord, it's God!
It's Herr von Grunehagen. Did I not tell you he was Russian? He has betrayed me himself. He was not satisfied that others should. I knew I was in the wolf's throat here.
Don't you believe it? They arrested poor Paul Dodd. They got him as he went out.
No, they speak respectfully to him. They bow to him.
They'll be bowing to us in a minute. That's probably how these colonels run you in. You wait till I call you and remember that it is my fight.
But you promised me that before I am taken that I shall see.
And don't forget what I've been telling you. Get that sand out of the gearbox by tomorrow morning, or I'll see that you draw your final case Saturday night.
Miss Granger Simpson.
All right, Mariana. I'm much obliged for you taking my note the right way. I've got some pretty good reasons for not leaving this room.
Your note seemed extraordinarily urgent.
It had to be. There are some folks that are coming to me here, and I want you to be here when they show up. And to stop you if they were able to.
Well, there was no effort to prevent me.
No, I didn't give them time.
May I ask whom you refer to?
The whole kit and caboodle of them.
You're inelegant, Mr. Pike.
I haven't time to be elegant, even if I knew how.
Do you mean my chaperone would disapprove?
I shouldn't be surprised if the whole fine flower of Europe would disapprove. Disapprove? They'd sandbag you to keep you away.
Well, then I can't stay.
Yes, you can, and you will, and you've got to.
Got to, I shall not.
I'm your guardian, and you'll listen to me. You'll obey me this once if you never do again. You'll stay here while I talk to these people, and you'll stay in spite of anything they say or do to make you go. God knows I hate to talk rough to you. I wouldn't hurt your feelings for the world, but there comes a point where I have to use the authority I have over you.
Authority? Do you think...
You'll stay here for the next 20 minutes while I talk to these people if I have to make Cressy and Agenhor look like a peace conference. You and your brother soaked up a society called notions worth of life over here. You're just like old Pete Delaney. He got so he'd drink cold tea if it had a whiskey label on it. They funneled you with labels, and it's my business to see that you know what kind of people you're dealing with.
You're bullying me. I don't see why you talk so brutally to me.
You think I'd do it for anything but you?
You're odious. Insufferable.
Don't you know I think you despise me?
I do not despise you. If I had stayed home and grown up there, I would probably be the provincial woman playing Sweet Genevieve for you tonight. But my life has not been that. Instead, you have humiliated me since the moment of your arrival, and you have made me ashamed of both you and of myself. But now you have some preposterous plan to shame me once again and to humiliate us both in front of my friends, these gentlefolk.
Don't mumble your words!
Looks like the gentlefolk are here.
My good child, what are you doing in this dreadful place with this dreadful person?
My dear, I can find it.
Ethel, I'm extremely surprised. Come away at once.
Or say, really, Miss Ethel, you can't stay here, you know.
I'm her guardian, and she'll stay by my authority, and she's here by my authority.
There was no Mr. Pike.
Lord Hardcastle, will you please insist on Ethel's leaving? It's quite on the cards we will have a disagreeable scene here.
Yes. I see no occasion for it. We're simply here from Mr. Pike's answer. He knows where we stand, and we know where he stands.
I reckon you're right so far,
And his answer will be yes.
but you're wrong there.
Perhaps you're right, Mrs. Benji Simpson. Hurtful things may be done. Better they only spread than take your sister away.
For God's sakes, do. It may be quite rowdy.
But my dear, you positively must.
Ethel, I command you.
You stay right where you are.
Oh, I say.
Oh, the lynching ruffian!
Ethel, do you mean I let this fellow dictate you?
But he says I must.
You come for an answer, you say?
Yes.
An answer to what?
An answer to a request that you accede for the wishes of that young lady.
And if I don't, what would the consequences be?
Ethel, you must go.
This man is a beast.
Barbarian!
This afternoon, I helped a beaten down Russian running away from Siberia where he'd been for 9 years. Oh, beaten and broken down, like you've seen a rat in a gutter by dogs in booth blacks. And some of your friends here saw us bring him into this apartment. And if I don't let you pay the $750,000 of the money John Simpson made, then that means the man that I tried to help goes back to Siberia to rot, and I go to an Italian jail for 2 years, or as much longer as they can make it.
Just so slander.
And I would never stoop. Stoop? Why, 10 years ago in St. Petersburg, there was a poor revolutionist who, in his crazy patriotism, took government money for the cause he believed in. And he did a good job of it. Don't think that tonight is the first time this man has given information to the police, because he knew where the money was. He did it then, and the poor husband went to Siberia. It's a lie. And he'll do it again tonight. I go to an Italian jail, and by the living God, the poor devil of a husband goes back to Siberia.
It's a ghastly lie.
You came for your answer. Here it is. Ivanov.
Ivan! Oh, Mother of God, Ivan, don't kill me!
You stay back from her. She's his wife, and there stands his best friend.
It's a lie. I never saw the man before in my life.
The lady seems to recognize him.
I'll marry. Go for the police.
No.
Quickly.
No, I can't.
Call him in. We're ready. But I'd like you to understand that I considered it cheap at the price.
Tell that officer to bring as many in you.
There will be no arrest tonight.
Do as I say. This man goes too.
The officer is not there. The Carbonari have withdrawn. For your sake, I relinquished my incognito. The man Ivanhoff is in my custody.
By whose authority? Do you know you were speaking to the Earl of our castle?
More respectful, sir. You are addressing His Highness the Grand Duke Vasily of Russia.
Respectful! Think of what I've been calling him.
It has been refreshing. Riviere, get Ivanhoff's statement in writing. Bring him with us.
I will not touch you, not even to strangle you, but God will let me repay my debt to the Earl of Hawcastle.
Who are you?
Oh, I didn't mean to hand you this, my lord. I didn't mean to give the fine flower of Europe any more trouble than they've got. But I had to show John Simpson's daughter. And I reckon she isn't wanting an alliance with the remnants of Cressy and Agincourt.
But I have no choice. I gave Elmer my promise when I thought it was an honor to bear his name. But now that you have shown me it is a disgrace to bear it, the promise is only more sacred. It's not his shame, you want me to be honorable, don't you?
Your father and mother were both from Missouri, weren't they?
Governor, see you're moving. Man, it depends. Depends. Madame de Champagne took the morning boat to Naples. And your trucks are gone. Shouldn't say it looks most like dependent. It does though, the devil is convict. Oh, but I say, Governor, you ain't any fucks about him. You can hold him up with a finger. Not if he had what he didn't have last night. I wouldn't be here today. You don't think the beggar would be taking shots at you? I don't know what a crazy fool might do. But, you know, he's really quite as much pussy as you wish. That Vasilevich chap got quick enough. The Grand Inquisitor has a reputation of being a romantic fool. I don't know what moment he will take. I have an uncle.
Then I have the advantage of you, Castle. He's just done it.
What?
Got him pardoned from Russia by telegraph this morning.
You don't mean that?
Admiral has just told me.
What? Mariana!
An outrage. All our plans so horribly upset.
Oh, they are. Mariana, I'm off for the Naples. Chops the wood.
It is too late for the boatman, though. You must drive the castle back to the train.
There's a carriage waiting for me. The gate yonder. Get this thing over there. Wait! You must sit, Joe. You must not let the thing fill. What's more, you got to hurry. This girl gave her the woods last night, but she was sick.
But she was behaving very peculiar this morning. Outrageous would be more like it. She was shedding tears over Miss Ivanov's story. And what's more, she sent that dreadful eye person in with assistance.
Assistant? What sort of assistant?
Money. I don't know how much, but I'm sure it's a lot.
By Jove, bind the beggar off perhaps, to keep from making a scandal for us. Oh, you mean that?
Well, if she is, then why do you go?
Because I'm not sure she can. Warn me at the Barcelona in Naples. The minute she'll stick.
For the sake of her net promise.
And for the sake of the name.
Your papa seems to be in a hurry.
Ah, yes, possibly. He's off, you know, the Mr. Training. He's so easily worried by trifles.
You're not worried, not so easy. What have you done?
One finds nothing in particular to bother him this morning.
Nothing at all.
Not I, of course. Miss Edelstein is your promise?
Yes, she is.
The governor thought it best that we clear out, so we're certain that she can draw off that convict chap.
Draw him off?
What you Americans call affixing him, isn't it?
Fixing him? Don't try to talk United States, my son. Tell me in your own way.
She's been giving him money, hasn't she? And you took it to him yourself. Naturally, you understood what it was for, is to keep the beggar quiet.
That's what she sent this poor custom money for, was it?
Why, what other reason would there be?
Well, I thought it was because she felt sorry for him, thought he'd been wrong, but of course I'm stupid.
Well, rather. I don't know why she found it so necessary to hush him up, but it simply shows a very worthy intention there, doesn't it?
Would you mind my being present when you thank her for it?
Should not the least if I intend thanking her. It simply shows she already considers herself one of us. It's perfectly plain, huh? It's plain as you are.
Oh, and if only I could get it over Kokomo, and that's why you're not worried, is it, son?
Worried? My good man, do you mind excusing me? I saw this most slightly pup yesterday, and I'm afraid some other chap will snatch him up before I do. I should take him when I had the chance. Day, well.
I hear that Lord Rothcastle has left the hotel.
Yes, I saw him go.
He left very quickly.
He did seem to be forgetting the scenery.
He was afraid of Ivanov.
I shouldn't be surprised. Ivanov wants to thank you. May I bring him?
Yes. Madame.
Not you. You see, I must fly to a place where my incognito will be respected. If I stay here, it will be what you call fuss and feathers and revolutionary agents. I've come to admire you with your guardian, incognito or not. He is a great friend of mine, even if he's known to be an egoist.
An egoist? That is the last thing in the world he should be called.
Ah, so what do you call him?
I call him.
Bravo. I call him an egoist because he is so content on being what he already is. He doesn't need to pretend to be something he isn't. You know, I respect your country and him, ma'am. But, you know, I go places and people bow and salام half on their knees to me, but he...
I cannot quite imagine him doing that.
I've come to bid you goodbye, my friend. Life is a service of farewells, and if you ever make it to St. Petersburg when I'm there, you will be made welcome. Your ambassador will tell you where to find me.
Oh, I know I'd be welcome. And if you ever get out as far as Indiana, don't miss Kokomo. The depot hackman will tell you how to find me, and the boys will help me show you a good time. You like it, Doc.
I know.
I don't know how to call you by name, but I reckon you'll understand. I think an awful lot of you.
You know, I've confided a little bit about you, sir. You've been set upon a pedestal by a very pretty lady, and with that it comes great responsibility. But with that in mind, I do part with some anxiety for you.
What do you mean?
What is it you taught me to say? Ah, yes, there's sand in your gearbox.
My dear kind young lady, your guardian has made it known how to accept the help that you've given me. He has known how because his heart is like yours, full of goodness. I shall go to London to teach the languages. There I may repay you, at least what you've granted me in money.
Professor Agnell, will you follow Lord Hawkcastle and your wife?
My wife exists no longer for me.
But Lord Hawkcastle, will you follow him?
Oh, no, I could not hurt him. I could not. Why, man's suffering exists here. What is it that he has of most value in this world? It is that name of his. Except for that, he is poor, and that I shall destroy. He will not go into his clubs, and he will not walk among his own class. And in the streets, they will point at him. His story and mine shall become too well known, and that name that he and all his family are so proud of, it shall be dishonor and disgrace to bear.
Already it is that.
Oh, but I forget myself. I talk so ugly.
It is not in my heart to blame you. Your wrongs have given you the right.
God bless you always.
There are some pretty good people over here, aren't there?
And when you're home again, I hope you will remember them.
I will.
And I hope you forget everything I've ever said to you.
Somehow it doesn't seem very likely that I would.
Yes, you will. All those terrible things I've ever said.
Oh, I'll forget about those easily.
And the other things, too. And you're home again amongst your kind, the good home folks you like so well. There's probably one among them that you'll be so glad to get back to you hardly know you've even been away. An unworldly girl, one who doesn't need to be cured of all sorts of follies. A kind girl, one who's always been sweet to you. I can see her now. She wears a white muslin and waits by the gate for you at twilight. Isn't she like that?
No, not like that.
But there is someone that you've cared for?
Well, she's been there in a way. I've had her picture on my desk for a good while. And when I come home in the evening, she seems to be there. But I bought a homey old house up on Main Street. You know it. It's the one you were born in. But it gets lonesome sometimes, and I get to thinking that she's there, sitting at an old piano that my mother used to own, and playing for me.
Playing Sweet Genevieve?
Yes, that's my favorite. But then I come to and realize it ain't so. No melody comes to me, and I find that there ain't anybody but me. Why? It's so foolish, even Jim Cooley can write letters making fun of it.
You'll find her someday. You'll find someone to fulfill that vision, and I shall think of you in your old house among the beech trees. I shall think of you often, listening to her voice in the twilight. But I will be far away from that sensible, kindly life, keeping the promise that I have made, and living out my destiny.
What destiny?
I am bound to Almoric with his misfortunes. I am bound to Almoric by his misfortunes. His name will be a byword disgrace, and it is my duty to help him bear it, to help him make it honorable again, to inspire him in the struggle that lies before him, to rise above it with his own efforts, to make a career for himself, to make the world forget the disgrace of his father and his own triumphs, and the product of his own work.
Work?
Oh, I am all American today. No matter how humbly he begins, it will be a beginning, and no matter what, I will use all my strength and energy to help him through it. Can you challenge that? Isn't it true?
Well, I don't think I have any right to deny that. That's what any good and brave woman ought to feel.
Well, what should be done needs to be done. I haven't seen Elmore since last night. I must go see him now.
Oh, he isn't here just now.
I've shirked facing him today. He's always been so light and gay. I've dreaded seeing him bending over his blow, shamed and overcome. But now it is my duty to help him hold up his head in spite of it.
I agree. It's your duty.
So that means you, as my guardian, think I am right?
I agree, I said.
That must mean I have your consent.
It does. I give my consent to your marriage.
You do?
I place it in your hands.
I protest against this. She's talking like a romantic schoolgirl, and I for one won't bear it, and I won't allow
It's too late. He's already consented.
it. I tell you, I shall not permit her to throw herself away.
Oh, look here. Who's the guardian of this girl?
And a magnificent guardian you are. You came here to protect her from something you thought rotten. Now we all know it's rotten. You hand her over. But Joe, I shouldn't be surprised if you agreed to the settlement too.
My son, I shouldn't be surprised if I did.
Is the world topsy-turvy? Have I gone crazy? I bet my soul that'll disgust her as much as it does me.
My son, I shouldn't be surprised if it would.
By Lord, we can play clear game, Mr. Pike.
I'm just crossing the Rubicon. Your father used to have a saying, if you're going to cross Rubicon, just cross it. Don't wait down in the middle and stand there. You only get hell from both things.
Mr. Granger Simpson, have you seen my nephew?
No, I've rather avoided that, if you don't mind my saying so.
Mr. Granger Simpson.
I'm sorry, Lady Creech, but I've had a most awful shaking up. I'm almost thinking of going home with Mr. Pike. See, I rather think he's right in his ideas. We've abused him, not only for himself, but for his vulgar friend. Yet his vulgar friend turned out to be a Grand Duke. Look what our friends turned out to be.
Come along, here's a good fellow.
That's all right.
Here he comes, ashamed and bending under the blow.
Mariana, Mariana! I say Mariana. Isn't he ripping? Lucky I got there just as I did. I don't want to buy 5 minutes later. Mariana, you'd be trusted to watch him.
Wash him?
Tempered water, and mine he doesn't take cold. And afterwards, just a little bit of milk. Nothing else but milk, you understand? You be deuced careful, I mean to say.
I will give this to the porter. Really, young Merrick, there are important things you know.
But you don't seem to realize, I could have missed them altogether. I think I'm rather to be congratulated, you know. What?
Looks to me like you are, my son. I've given my consent.
Rip it!
And a settlement?
The settlement also. Everything.
Oh, I had no idea!
I told you we'd be plain sailings on sea. There was nothing to worry about.
Oh, all shall be forgiven, my child. I am too pleased, too overjoyed in your good fortune to know that any bickerings between us. The sky has cleared wonderfully. Everything is settled.
Yes, it's all over. My guardian has consented.
Of course, I never worried, but I fancy this will be a weight off the governor's mind. I'll see that a wire catches him in Naples, and he'll be glad to know we came with that arrangement with that convict chap, too.
Almeric, I think it's noble to be brave in trouble, but
Oh, I say, you know, you're really gifted.
I mean that I admire you for your pluck, for seeming unconcerned under disgrace, but
Disgrace? Why, who's disgrace? Not even the governor's I see it. You got that chap called off, didn't you?
whom do you mean?
Why, that convict chap. Didn't you send him away? You bought him off, didn't you? So he wouldn't talk. Gave him money not to bother us.
Why, heaven pity you. Do you think that?
Oh, what? He wouldn't agree to be still? This will be quite a pill for the governor. He'll be a bit worried, you know.
Don't you see it's time for you to worry a little for yourself? That you've got to do something with this obliterate shame. That you've got to begin a career to work.
But I say though, but for what? What possible need might there be for an extreme like that? Don't you see, there's the settlement.
Settlement. You speak of settlement now.
Settlement? But certainly there's a settlement.
What for?
Wait,
Well-
don't you understand? You're to be the Countess of Portcastle, aren't you?
Why, hasn't he told you? The only thing standing between us was this man's agreement to the settlement, and he's just given it.
You mean he's consented to that?
Why, to be sure, he's just consented his own lips, haven't you?
I did.
Don't you see? Don't you hear him? He's consented. He didn't come off his words. Don't you hear him?
I do, and I disbelieve my own ears. Yesterday, when I wanted something I thought of value, and that was a name, and he refused to let me buy it. And today, when I know that that name is less than nothing, worse than nothing, he bids me give my fortune for it. What manner of man is this? And you, what are you that after last night you come and ask me for a settlement?
Why, certainly. You can't expect to enter a family like this and bring nothing.
I can't see that the situation has changed since yesterday. I can't say for the precise amount the governor said, but if there's less on the account of that little affair last night, why, we should be the last people on earth to haggle over a few thousand pounds.
Oh, that is the final word of my humiliation. I felt that you were in dishonor and shame, and because of that, I was ready to keep my word, to stand by you, to help you make yourself into something like a man, to give my life to you. That you permitted the sacrifice was enough. Now you ask me to pay for the privilege of making it? No, I am released. I am free. I am not that man's property to just give away.
My dear, you're beside yourself. Isn't this what we wanted the whole time?
Slow a bit. Didn't you say you'd stick?
Oh, any promise I ever made to you was canceled, 1,000 times canceled, and this is final. And as for you, never presume to speak to me again.
Most extraordinary girl. She's rather dreadful, isn't she?
Give me your arm, Almeric.
What have you to say to me? What explanation have you to make?
None.
That's because you don't care what I think of you. Indeed, you've already shown that when you were willing to give me up to those people and to let me pay for them taking me. You let me romanticize to you about honor and duty and sympathy, about my efforts to make that creature a man, and you pretended to sympathize with me. When you knew the whole time it was only the money they were after.
I shouldn't be surprised.
You mean you didn't have the faint little understanding of me enough to know that they were asking for money now would horrify me? Didn't you know what you were consenting to, leaving me free to deny everything to them?
Well, I shouldn't be surprised if I had seen that.
So you've been saving me again from myself, from my silliness, from my romanticism, and you've given another revelation of the falsity and unreality of my attitude toward these people and toward life.
No.
No, see, you always say that. You always deny it. It's like you. You let me make a fool of myself, and then you show it to me, and afterwards you deny it. You're always exhibiting your superiority. Would you do that to the dream girl you told me of? The dream girl that sits in the cold, lonely, dark house among the beaches? Do you think any girl could love a man for that? Go back to your dream girl, your lady of the picture.
She won't be there.
Are you sure?
There ain't any chance of that. House will still be empty.
How?
Well, there's no doubt that it'll still be empty because she won't be there.
Well, you may be wrong. For once.